Hi, I'm Kutski. I recently did a documentary on BBC Radio 1, one of the stories on a Monday evening, about a drum sample, possibly the most sampled drum loop of all time. It's known as the Amen break. And we got quite geeky in the documentary, talking about how people have sampled it over the years, from NWA right through to, kind of drum and bass DJs today. So I thought I'd put together a little blog post just showing you the very, very basics of how music producers take a record, take that sample, and then manipulate it into something else. So I'm going to give you a little demo of that now. Okay, so as you can see, I've already loaded in the Amen Brother track. Just give that a quick play through now, because we need to find out exactly where the break's going to drop so we know where to sample it from. So we'll just give this a little play through. So there we go, the infamous Amen break. Right, so first thing we need to do is zoom right in and try and find out exactly where that drum loop starts. Right, so we get right in there, put a little marker in there and say this is the start of the loop. So then when we play it, we know we're going to get the bit we want. Now we switch on the metronome for the computer, so we compare the computer's timing compared to what the drum loop's doing, and then play them both together and see what's happening there. As you can see, towards the end it drifted out a little bit, but that's not a problem, we can fix that easy enough. So we know that's the start of the next bar, so that'll be on the 5. And now when we play that, it should give us the drum loop seamlessly. So this is what people were doing really at the beginning. People like NWA, they were just either slowing the break down like this, which you may recognise from Straight Outta Compton, or people were just pitching it right up, as you may recognise like this. And it's definitely got that early jungle sound to it there. So then after this, you don't want to use the whole break just in one monotonous loop going over and over again. So the best thing to do is find the best part of the loop that's going to sound really chunky and groovy and set a good groove on it. So maybe try from here. Sounds quite nice. So we'll cut off everything before there. Yes, it makes a nice little loop that, so we'll take off that as well. And then we can go into here and tell it that it's a loop. Starting at 1. And then we can just literally drag this across and create an endless loop. Okay, so we've got the drum loop set up now, so that's going to play forever and a day if we let it. But just to give it a bit more dynamics and fun, this is my favourite part, is when you really get to mash it up using all different types of effects. This is one of my favourite effects processors for it. As you can see, I've even made my own preset for the Amen drum loop. So I'm going to give it a little play now, and then I'm going to give you a show of what some of the effects can do with it. So as you can see there, endless possibilities and endless fun. I could literally sit here playing with that drum loop and every different type of effect I could find all day, and I would honestly never get bored. Another way a lot of people like to get creative with the break is to actually splice it up. So you take each individual drum hit from the loop and you can span it across the keyboard. So you could basically play in using each instrument and each hit from the drum, but play it back in your own order. And then, you know, you've literally got infinite possibilities again to rearrange it. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo on how to do that. First thing you need to do is zoom in and tell the computer program where each individual hit of the drum loop is. So for ease sake, we're just going to work on this little middle bit here. Make sure that that loop's okay first. Yep. And then we dive in and we tell it where each transient point is, and you can do this by sight really, so you just tell it where each individual hit of the drum is going to be. And then when you play that back again, you can see as the cursor goes across, you'll see each one of them's a drum hit. And then to set that across a MIDI keyboard, really easy in most programs now, you can say center a MIDI track and you can choose the warp markers, which are the points that we've just put in on the screen down here, or set a different key for each one of them. So click OK. And that's effectively created a sampler for us now. So we can get rid of the audio we've just made, and you can see it's already laid out the keys in the order. And then once you've got a MIDI keyboard connected, you can literally see that you could play the drum loop in any order. So if you find a nice kick first, then look for a snare, nice snare there, and then some hats to fill in. And you could literally play a drum loop in your own order. Wow, so there you go. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into why people have been sampling this, 6-7 seconds of drum loop over and over again for the past 40 years, and why it just keeps being regenerated, revamped and rehashed into something new all the time, and there is really just endless possibilities of it. So hope that explains a little bit more to you, and if you haven't seen the documentary already, you might want to check that out, and that's going to make this video make a lot more sense too.